And I believe crypto will play that type of role. Bitcoin, bomb, altcoin, bomb. We are hearing from clients around the world. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Crypto, depending on how you think about it. And I believe crypto will play that type of role as a Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, bomb. We are hearing from clients around the world. We are hearing from clients around the world. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Crypto, depending on how you think about it. And I believe crypto will play that type of role as a Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, bomb. We are hearing from clients around the world.
Back, it's Monday, it's April 1st. We had a holiday weekend. I'm feeling good. I hope you're all feeling good. We're about to dive in. If you're ready to get going, throw a 1 in chat. Let's do it. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Welcome back from the weekend. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. I'm curious, what did everybody do? What was the most fun thing you did this weekend? Maybe it was take a trade and make a lot of money. Maybe it was doing nothing to do with crypto at all, like getting outside and riding a bike or spending time with family. Remember why we're doing this. It's not just for dollars, ones and zeros, or numbers on a screen or crypto. No, we're doing this for family. We're doing this to have a better life. We're doing this for all things improving in our world, and we can use this as a mechanism. That's what this is all about. We're here to grow, and we're going to grow together. Everybody, we got some great charts we're going to be covering today. So as we get going, I would love to see, we have 18 people in the room right now. Every single one of you, do me some love, do me some favor, hit that like button. Let's get 18 likes for 18 people. YouTube will start pushing this out to more people. We had a wonderful interview this weekend too. I'll cover that here in a little bit, but we got some wonderful, we got, these early birdies here in the house. We got some things I want to talk about. We got to talk about some charts. We got to talk about some data. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum and Cardano and Solana and some other things here today. But just talk about this right here. Mark Yusko, who we interviewed this weekend, we had that stream out on Saturday. It was such a wonderful interview with him. And special shout out to Mark Yusko for that. But what he's posting here is he's talking about this tortured number, basically torturing the data. What he's talking about here is if you come down here to, right here, it's some people will say that there's some issues because it's not performing as well in the last 3 years. But we look at this. We look at how Bitcoin has performed in relationship to the S&P 500 over the last 5 years, 4 years, 2 years, 1 year. I mean, look at this. It is absolutely performing spectacularly. Yes, when we look at the price right now, oh my God, it's dumping. Oh my, we got to get out. We're done. No, this is providing that last bit of opportunity that we're waiting on to really take advantage of what's going on in this market as we go into this, last couple, about 3 weeks until the halving. And so this is very important what's happening right now. And we've talked about this a lot on this channel. We talked about when we get back over, if we come out here to the daily, double click right here, zoom out right here, look right in this zone right here. What does this say? 31 days, 31 bars roughly. Actually, it would be a little bit shorter. So we can see just like here, and I have the measurements correct. So about a month consolidation right at the previous all-time high. We look at where we're at right now, and it doesn't feel so crazy. You don't feel so crazy looking at this going, man, it was going up. Why isn't it going up anymore? Well, it's got to do some work, baby. Price action needs to cool down. Let the engine put some oil in it, right? And this is what's happening right now. We've had an explosive, look at this move from back here, September 2023, August, September. This crash right here, everybody thought, oh my God, it's going back to 12. No, it's not. It consolidated sideways for, look at this. If we actually, where we go. If we actually zoom out on this and we say, press the shift button, click on the chart, measure that out, it's about 59 bars. Similarly, right here, we had about 57 bars. Similarly, right here, we've had these consolidative periods regularly, especially after big moves. Big move up, consolidate. Big move up, consolidate. Big move down, consolidate. Big move up and just continued pressure to the upside. This was, when we started getting closer to the likelihood of the ETF, fully getting approved and all this sort of stuff. And the price action is pushing up and is going. Oh my God, the ETF got approved January 10th. And then we sold off. Some people fear mongered this, but then what happened? Price action still moving up. We've never really had that much of a consolidation. Yes, we had right here. We're on the daily. So we can see this was probably about a week. Yeah. So 12 days there, consolidated sideways, but we haven't had either a large pullback or consolidation. In lieu, in place of not having a huge drop on price action, we can also have a correction by time having price action go sideways. And we are right at a known level, and it's before the halving. So it's okay with everything that's happening in here. It is still absolutely bullish and it's still absolutely beautiful. So what we want to watch right now is I've already had these levels marked out on the chart, and I've been sharing it in the Discord. I've been sharing it here on the live streams on a daily basis. So we are not worried on these small movements that are happening right here. The only way you'll be super, super bothered by this is if you're trying to jump into a 30x long or a 30x short every time the price makes a move in one direction or another. As it stands right now, the price action is sitting what I like to call the stoplight action protocol. Where is it a green light? Is it a yellow light? Is it a red light? In this case right now, just looking at the price action, not even looking at all the data, this is sort of okay, you need to kind of see what direction the market is trying to move. In this case, we can zoom out and we can see the trend is to the upside. The trend is your friend until it ends. And in this case, we are okay. In fact, we are thrilled with a little bit of consolidation, which is what's happening here. We've had the whipsaw up, back down, back up, back down, up, down, up. They're doing everything that they can do to shake people in and out of this market. So what we're seeing right now is nothing to be concerned with. In fact, if you have your strategy in place, if you're using the stoplight action protocol, if you're using any data signals, if you're using any indicators, really the number one thing you need to be doing right now is just being a little bit patient and looking on your time horizon to where you think this is going and making sure that right now you don't mess this up, because I do not want to have on the day of the halving and anytime in the future after that, my goal is not to have less Bitcoin or less crypto. My goal is to have more crypto over time. And I'm trying to do everything in my power to make sure that I'm increasing my portfolio size and increasing my holdings. And I hope you all are too. So let's go through a couple of these charts, and then we're going to jump into the data points here that we want to talk about. Now, coming right here, we just had the highest monthly close ever. Not only do we have the highest monthly close ever, we also had the second consecutive close above the monthly Ichimoku cloud. So this happened back here, this happened right here, and we can see in this case we had this large run up all the way up here. This is that $19,500 top. Let's call it 20K. But about 12 to 14, 13, almost a year later, essentially. Similarly, we see this close, 2 candles. And then, yes, we had this run up, and it wasn't 12, but we also had this sell off and then this continuation to the upside that actually gave us this market cycle top. So what we're seeing right here is kind of in line with what we're seeing right here. Different data points showing different ways to arrive at a similar conclusion gives you more of a confidence about the likelihood of something happening. Now, in this case, what we're seeing here is these colors are coded by basically the RSI. This is one of those reminders. The RSI is not an overbought, oversold signal. You can use it to that effect in some regards on smaller time frames. But in large in part, what we're looking at with the RSI, yes, what do you mean? The RSI is not on here. Well, here, Stock Money Lizards coded it into the colors of these candles. So when you have it very red, that's very, the RSI measurement is very high on this, when you're looking at this time frame. So AKA, the strength is very high. Oh my God, it's overheated, it's oversold. Well, when you have these very strong trends, especially looking at the macro, you can be in the very high strength level for, days, weeks, months sometimes. And this is what we're seeing right here. This is what we're seeing right here. And we are just entering this phase right now based on the strength levels on the RSI. So we've got a lot of incredible bullishness coming. We have got, we are doing everything we can to make sure that you all have the tools, resources, and community necessary that we can all ride this wave together to the upside. Now, make sure you're giving me a follow right here at Kelly Kellam, Kelly, Kellam. There's found 2 or 3 other scam profiles out there. Make sure you're following the correct one. And then, of course, BitLab Academy here at Academy of BitLab. By the way, if you have not yet, make sure you head over to the BitLab Academy page and you go and watch this interview that we did with Mark Yusko on Saturday. It was just so much good information. Everything it's even worth sharing with friends and family because he talks in a very articulate way that's understandable. He's such a friendly guy. He's so smart. And he talks about some of the basics and what's impacting what's going on right now with price that everybody can understand. It's a great resource for talking points as well, even if you know some of this stuff. But then he goes into some incredible data about what got us to the price we're at now and where we're going from here. So make sure you go and watch this video at some point. Drop a comment on there and what your thoughts are as well. Now, the next thing we want to look at right here, we've got some choppiness that may be coming this week. Because remember, it's not just price, hope, fear, supply, demand. Sometimes there's shaped narratives that impact the markets. I know on the Discover Crypto show, they were talking about these huge shorts that were in NVIDIA, MicroStrategy, and Microsoft, and et cetera. But what we're seeing in addition to that is this right here. If only we had more Fed people speak this week. I mean, look at this list. February 1st, we got one. Okay, Cook's talking. But then the second, we have Bowman, Williams, Mester, Daly, Bowman. And then again, Bowman on the 3rd. And then, I mean, look at how many people, what's the real purpose? Ask yourself, what's the real purpose of them talking? It's not to provide confidence to people. It's not to let people know what's going on. What's the real reason all these Fed people need to speak? It's not to instill confidence or quell people's fears or help give information. No, the entire purpose of this, whether they will admit it or not, is to push the markets, is to create a narrative, to sow doubt and to shape what's going on in the market. If it's getting a little too hot, well, let's have a bunch of Fed people speak. If it's not getting hot enough, let's talk about the potential of a rate cut. This is all narrative shaping. And this is why, as a trader, as an investor, when you're in this space, especially something like Bitcoin and crypto, you need to understand what your time horizon is. If you're trading on a 15-minute chart or you're trying to do a 5-year hold, make sure that your actions in this market are not affected by something that is meant to shape the narrative of what's happening over the next month if you're trading on a yearly basis. And vice versa. If you're trading on a 15-minute basis, then this is something that can give you insight as to some volatility that may be coming in. So if you want to know more stuff like this, if you want to make sure you're on the right side of the trend, make sure you follow us for more because we're going to keep you in the green going into this bull market. Now, we got some more things to talk about here. We got to jump right into the charts. We got 127 people in the room. Thank you for being here. Had a wonderful holiday weekend, regardless of if you celebrated the holiday or not. I hope every weekend or every day off that you have, you treat like a holiday. You share love with friends and family. You get outside of the charts. Now let's continue on because we got more to talk about. I just wanted to give just a gentle reminder about what is about to occur. This is the halving. This is a halving. This is a halving. You've seen this. Great. Look at this relationship to what happens with price action. Up, relationship, up, drop, up. And we're about to have another one of these. Now, these are going to get less impactful over time, but remember, are they really that much less impactful? Even though like back here, it was like 50 to 25 to 25 to 12, to 6, etc. Now it's going to go from 6.25 or something to 3.125 Bitcoin per block. Remember, every 10 minutes. Going from 900 a day to 450 a day, new Bitcoin created. But it's also, we have an exponential amount of new interest in the space and people coming into the space. So all these things are tying together in a compounding effect of this supply and demand dynamic. And the big players are going to do everything they can to chop you out of this market. So you see right now, this feels scary. I broke this down earlier. This box right here, rejection, rejection, bounce inside, bounce on top, rejection on the inside, bounce, rejection on the bottom, bounce on the bottom, bounce on the top, bounce on the top. Now it's coming back through the bottom. Is it going to? I don't care what it's going to do. And if you truly get to the point where you understand these markets, you know that you can never tell with an exact authority what direction something's going. You can only stack yourself into a highly probable situation or scenario. And of course, continue to manage your risk. But as we're seeing this right now, this pattern right here, M formation with a larger M formation, right now it's turned into a triple top. This is telling me the signal here from the charts is that it's trying to move lower. But when I zoom back out and look at this on the 2-week basis, and I see this going like this, okay, am I really that worried about on a 1-hour chart that it's dropping? No, I say, okay, if I know my macro signal shows that we are going with all the data combined, all these things that are lining up for the most bullish scenario in the history of Bitcoin, then I know that this right here doesn't bother me, because this means if I'm bullish on the macro, then on the smaller time frame, if it does drop, this gives me opportunity to take advantage of that. Let's remind ourselves of that. In addition to all this, if we do drop, remember, if I type right here, BTC1, just so you all know, you don't have to come up here to the top left, click on this. No, you can literally just click on the chart once and then just start typing. Boom, BTC1. Now I'm going to go to futures. There we go. We're looking at the futures. And this is what I'm talking about right here. This is a gap down is what they call it, a gap below us. Last weekend, not the weekend that just passed, the weekend before, we closed the weekend on a Friday here. We opened it on a Sunday here. We have this giant gap basically in the 64 through 65K sort of region. So let's just call it 65K on the futures. These tend to fill. They don't have to, but they tend to fill. So when we're looking at Bitcoin and we see, okay, it's going to be 64 to 65K. All right, we already have, this was not here because of that gap. This was here based on price action from many moons ago. But it's a level that was very important, as we can see a lot of choppiness in the zone. But it's also, let's see, 65. If we draw a box where 65 is, basically right in the middle of that gap. So this is 65.1 to 65.8. And look at this. We have a rejection here. We got a bounce in here. We have a bounce on top. We have a bounce in here, bounce here. So not only do we have a gap down at this level where this box is, I'm going to move this over just so it's not in our way anywhere. We have the CME futures gap, but we also have price interactivity right in this same zone and an order block on the bottom side of it, which is this green bar right here, which is automatically printed from the BitLab trading stack. You see right here. So we have multiple different things, as well as this this descending level of resistance that we have broken out, kind of tested it here. It wouldn't be out of the question to come down here, flush out a bunch of open interest, a bunch of people going leverage long, and scare the people that aren't you. You're not going to be scared because you see the data. You're going to see this coming down and take this as an opportunity with still risk management. You're not just going to go leverage long with 500, 100x long because it came down in the zone. Because there's still a possibility, and it's still very bullish if price comes all the way down here into the 58, 57K region. We've talked about this before. It has to do with what's going on with where the short-term holder cost basis is. Currently, look how fast this is rising. Not so long ago, this is January 22nd. Short-term holder cost basis was 38. This has jumped $20,000 since then. It's almost at $58,000. This gets tested regularly in bull markets. So in the event that we lose where that CME futures gap is, this sort of zone, as well as this box that we've lined out, as well as this order block right here, if that's not enough bullish buffer in terms of bulls coming in to defend this area, and we lose this, then I'd be looking for, I'd be looking for a bounce somewhere, interaction between the 61 and $58,000 region. And ultimately, that would be an incredible opportunity. But when we look at it on a smaller time frame, we're looking at this, I'm still skeptical that it's going to come down that far unless there's another bearish catalyst, like some sort of huge FUD narrative. The SEC goes after another exchange or something. Remember, those things happen. The governments have the ability, and these and big money has the ability to create narratives that shake the contending narrative that they don't want. So for instance, there could be huge institutions that are out there that can't wait to get their hands on this, but they also might feel like prices has gotten away from it. Well, they can do things that can bring that price back, but we can't plan on that. All we can plan on is the macro that we've seen on a regular basis. Where is it at? The macro, we know that this is likely to happen, but there's going to be a lot of chop in here that people forgot about, even back here. The people forgot about even back here. We can see the macro, and all of us have done this. Throw a 1 in chat if you've done this. When you've looked at a chart, you go like, man, if I would have just bought here, so this cycle, I'm going to do that. I'm going to have my strategy. And then you get into the thick of it, you know, on that 15-minute chart, and you already see the macro. You know what you're going to do because you've seen it before. And then while you're in it, you're like, oh man, it just dipped. It just dipped 1%. Oh my God. Oh, I need to call a friend. Like, we all do that. Let's let go of, let's acknowledge it. I do that even. I know this, I teach this. But acknowledging your feeling in this allows you to be humble and interact with this market with a response, not a reaction. So that's what the goal is right now. So when we're looking at this, this feels, look at this. This is the inverted head and shoulders pushed out. Now we have a bit of a triple top. If we cannot hold this zone, and the bulls are trying to defend it, look at this, comes right down into this order block that automatically printed here with the BitLab trading stack. Bulls are trying to defend this. If we can hold here and even trade sideways, chop a little bit more here, that would be great. If we lose this area, then I'm looking next level down, I'd say is 66.8 because of this interaction right here, right? And if we lose that, then we're going to be filling that CME futures gap, which ultimately would be a good thing because why? It would provide us opportunity. Now we got a couple more things here to look at. Where is it at? We talked about this. This is about to happen again. In addition to all this growing institutional interest, we also can see right here, the network is stronger than it's ever been. The intrinsic value, people like Warren Buffett or Peter Schiff, who says Bitcoin has no value. It's just blood. Well, does Twitter have value? Does Facebook have value? Does Instagram have value? Does Google have value? Does Snapchat have value? Because what they are is an organized network of computers that provide some sort of connectivity or service. What does Bitcoin do? It is the strongest decentralized computer network. It's stronger than even every centralized computer network out there. Google, Apple, Amazon, you combine all their clouds. The network, the Bitcoin mining network, security network, that's what the mining network is. It's the strongest computer network in history. And you can tell me, and there's people that use it, you're telling me that has no value. Let's see, Token Tide Temptress gifting 5 BitLab memberships. Big love to you. We got Aaron Kubak in here, Allison Jodry. I can't see it because there's all these lights right here. Sim. I think that's right. Chicago Brew, Jaw777. Shout out to all the members. Everybody drop in some bullish emojis in here. I'm feeling good today. Remember, we're having a little bit of a dip. Let's remember this chart right here. This isn't sexy. You know what this chart is? This chart is so much beyond sexy. This is showing the astronomical growth of the intrinsic value of Bitcoin, despite whatever happens with price. This is incredibly bullish. We can look at where we're at right now on the relative profits to value ratio. We're roughly about the same spot we were, similarly like that other chart. When we come up to the previous all-time high, this is the black line as a Bitcoin price. This is 2017 into 2018. Right here, top was about $20,000, just under it. When we came back up to it, see the black line kind of chopping here. Now look at the orange line. It comes up here. Also, we're relatively about the same thing. We overshot the price a little bit, but we also overshot the relative profit to value. Very similar. And then what happened from there? Price went from 20,000 up to 70, 3.5x. Now, are we going to have the same? Are we going to go over that? We're going to have to track this on a daily basis, but I know what's going to happen. I know what is going to happen in the next year and a half. Prices are going to be higher than where they're at right now, and probably in a big way. What is everybody, I'm curious right now, everybody that's here right now, what price point do you think within a $10,000 window, what is going to be the Bitcoin bull market top in this cycle? What is going to be the ETH bull market top in this cycle? And do you think we're going to have a blow off top, or do you think it's going to push up and kind of round out? Is it going to start looking more like institutional investments now that we have all this big money in? I kind of think, it's my supposition, I shall posit to thee, I think that we're going to have a larger growth than we have a sort of super cycle like effect, kind of like in 2013 with a very quick move up, a sell off, maybe somewhere in the $90,000 to $100,000 range, sell off, scare people, and then a very astronomical growth following after that. I think things are going to get very wacky, and this is going to be one of the last best opportunities in this space, especially for Bitcoin and especially for altcoins. So I'm riding this as hard as I can, doing everything I can to capitalize on this moment, and I hope you are too. You better follow us. You look down below this video right now. If it doesn't say subscribed, I don't know what you're doing. Hit that like button. Now we got some more charts to talk about. Let's do it. Where is it at? Now screw all this other stuff. Let's talk about it. Okay, Bitcoin. We're going to talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, and Solana here. Because why did I pick those to talk about in this video? Because those have the largest communities. Those have the largest communities. And they're rabid communities. And I think they're going to be very capture the broadly most of the people in the space about what's going on with this market. I see. Look at all those. Everybody, somebody's hitting the heart like 1,000 times there in the live chat. I'll throw some little sparkles in there. All right. So what we're seeing here, we had the rising wedge, a sell-off. These tend to break bearish. It did that. Now we flipped right into a bullish reversal pattern. Inverted head and shoulders went up. Now we're right back into a bearish reversal pattern with this triple top. So we've talked about the levels here. If this drops into this zone, what I'm really looking at, remember, is this time-based. This is going to be roundabout. It's not going to be 34 days, but roughly about a month, right? From, when we're butting our head up to that previous all-time high to when we broke through it, we're really chopping right around that previous all-time high. Interestingly, okay? So what I'm looking at with this is that there's likely going to be a move that's going to be made either to the upside or downside on the short term. In the long term, it's going to be on the upside, right? But in the short term, I'm looking for some move to be made, likely here very shortly. What we have not looked at lately, let me come over here. I'm going to close this out. This is it's an old chart. So we're going to come here. We're going to type in BBWP. That's not what I want. I want to go to indicators. BBWP. Bollinger Band width percentile. It's another way to look at Bollinger Bands. All right, so here we go. So rather than looking at the Bollinger Bands on the outside, this is showing you how wide or narrow they are. When they're very wide, there's a lot of volatility, and it tends to then constrict down to lack of volatility, consolidation. And then when it consolidates a lot, then the volatility then expands back to a lot of volatility. And so look at what we just did right here with all this price action. See how this comes down and consolidates, and this BBWP. And we, by the way, we talk about this in the BitLab Academy indicators course in BitLab Academy, right in this course here, and as well as the strategies and etc. So make sure you get over here and join us if you'd like to. You can also get the indicators that we use, the BitLab trading stack. But what we're seeing here is that this the volatility has since sort of shrunk down to consolidative sort of price action. So this can be for a little bit. You see, as this price action went sideways, this also had low volatility, right? That's why this means the Bollinger Band width, and we can actually even look at this Bollinger Band. Bollinger Bands. So you see how this is kind of wide, and then as these shrink down, this gets very low. And then once this expands out of this comes to the upside. So similarly, the Bollinger Bands are starting to constrict down. The longer we are like this, the tighter there will get. On the daily, we still have quite a, it's not that constricted. But if we get down, for instance, to the 1 hour, the 2 hour, you see that the Bollinger Band width percentile got very narrow, suggesting an explosive move was going to come. And we got it to the upside and then right back to the downside. So the market has been oscillating and doing everything it can. And it's showing us not only on price action, the volatility indexes. Looking at here on the BitLab trading stack, we can see that, look at this. We've had 3 consecutive tops on the, what do you call it? The stochastics, this orange line, getting lower, 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 right? Price action has been relatively about the same level, but it's showing that there is some weakness coming in, right? So we also see lower highs on the RSI. Okay, highs are relatively the same. So that means there was some bearish divergence there. Now, in addition to that, we can also see right here, the money flow was positive. And then even though, remember, the price action was pushing up to about the same high on the price level, you know, relatively about the same levels, the money flow was coming out. It's chopping kind of back and forth, but there's not strong positive money flow here. I'm looking at the 2 hour chart, and we also see bearish signals. 1, 2, neutral, neutral, 1, 2. The red is bearish signals. And this was just kind of telegraphing to us that there was some weakness coming into the market. So what does the BitLab intelligence say? Come on, damn it. Here we go. All right, so we had a bearish signal there, stopping volume, and the price action did fall, came back up, and then it actually had to move down. So now we've chopped back up, back down, back up, all around, right? And now we've come down. We got a little bit of a bullish signal with stopping volume to the downside, this yellow candle. And price action, remember, this is what I've been telling you all so much. I've really been trying to share my little magic trick that, you know, it's essentially my formula for making money in this market. It's called the, I'm going to tell you right now, my money for printing money, my format, my method for printing money in this market when I'm trading and trying to figure out what I'm going to do is called the stoplight action protocol. And it's trying to find a setup, a confirmation, a supporting confirmation, and a trigger, right? So you have multiple different steps you have to follow through to make sure that you're making a well-informed data decision, not moving because of emotions. And in this case, using the BitLab trading stack, I look at this yellow line right here, which is the weekly VWAP. When price action is above it, and it comes back to it and bounces off of it, this means that the powers that be, the majority of traders out there, especially big money, they're trying to play a bullish spread. So they want the price action to go above it, come down, bounce, and bounce off of it, because when they're trying to keep it bullish, when they're trying to go bearish, what happens is the price action will lose it, and it doesn't mean it's over. You want to wait for the price action to come back and say, okay, are they deciding to be bearish or are they deciding to be bullish? And as this comes down, because this could just be a trap, right? A washout. So you want to watch for the price interactivity when it comes back to that level and it gets immediately rejected. So they're looking at playing a bearish spread right now. So that's what we're looking at right now with what's going on. Now we have a lot of choppiness in this market going up, finding support, but now we have a lower high. See, lower low, lower high. Even though we bounced on the weekly VWAP, now we're just, I mean, it's just, this is sort of what I call a yellow light. It's uncertain. There's not real clarity of what's happening here because of all the macro things we're talking about and everything, but we can also see it in the price action. It's just chopping back and forth. What I'd like to see here is, despite this on the 4 hour or, you know, 4 hour, 2 hour, whatever small time frame, what I'd like to see, because the narrative is generally bullish on this chart to the upside, I would like to see either a further dip and a strong sign of reversal, having the weekly VWAP pull down with it and having the price action get it back above the weekly VWAP and then bounce on it and continue, or a move up from where it is right now and pushing beyond this weekly VWAP, the trend signal line, all the different data points here. But I'd really, for me to be super bullish on a short-term move, is to see the price action break through those levels, but also come beyond these recent local highs, because we have a triple top here, meaning that there is a very bearish intention in the market shown by the bears not letting the price get above a certain level. So this level is a level I want to see breached before I really buy into, on the short term, a bullish narrative to trade. As it stands right now, this is looking like we may get price action doing something like this. Okay, come on, click it 7 times. There we go. Coming up, and then forming a bit of a base. That would give us a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sort of move. So we're using a multiple different types of strategies to really confirm what's happening here. Now, things are very testy right now because of all the things we talked about and the halving just around the corner and the ETFs buying. So anything can happen, and that's frustrating as hell, isn't it? This is why analysts say it could go up, it could go down, it could go sideways. So what we want to do right now, and we're looking at the 4-hour chart, we see that we have positive money flow, the blue wave there on the BitLab trading stack. You can also see it if you're looking at Market Cipher. See, it's a green, red. It's still lightly green here. You can also see it when you're looking at traditional indicators here with MACD, the money flow. This is a Chaikin money flow. On the Chaikin money flow, it looks like it's already shown a little bit of a dip here, money coming out of the market. But we have the stochastics all the way down here at the bottom. We have the RSI coming down. I do think that there's the stronger likelihood of this coming down into that 65K area, closing that CME gap. So let's see what plays out here. Let's see what plays out here. We are just flirting with this going lower. But what's going on with Ethereum? Ethereum, remember, these are going to follow similar narratives with what's going on with Bitcoin. Now, Ethereum has this potential ETF right around the corner. There could be some water thrown on the fire for Ethereum if that ETF doesn't get approved. And there's a lot of speculation one way or another. SEC is still trying to potentially get it classified as a security. Okay, whatever. Looking at the price action chart, this is a level really that I'm watching. I'm going to put this right here. This is a level I'm really watching right here, 3176. We didn't think it was going to go back down there when it was up here at 4,000, right? It's about to go to 5 and beyond. But I was telling you all when this was happening, you know, that there's bearish divergences here. This is rounding. This is looking weak. And if we were to come down, I'd be watching this level and then this level. If we lose that, then we're looking at that lower price to potentially come down and test here. What we do, we came down and tested, boom, right on this. Now, what is this line, you ask? This line is the macro sort of channel line from rejection. And once we broke out of it, we never really had come back and really tested this level. Now we have, but there's bullish and bearish narrative here. This came down, yes, but the bulls ate this right back up. This is on a 3-day chart, so this ate right back up. So let's go down to the 8-hour chart. Came down, bounced strong, but now we ended up in a rising wedge. And we're sort of consolidating out of this wedge to the side, to sideways. I'm still watching, essentially, I'm watching this 33, 34 sort of zone right here. Let's go ahead and move this up here. You know, I'm just going to leave that where it is. We're going to do this, copy, paste. This is a level, these lows right here. And we have this order block. This is the top side of this order block. This would be basically 3320 and then basically 3170 are the two levels I'm watching to the downside. If we lose this level, we could be coming down, you know, back here into this $2,800. As it stands right now, it's looking more bearish than bullish right in this zone because we did have this rising wedge and the breakout of this was confirmed to the downside, but this is just trading sideways, but there's negative money flow here. And same thing, these two levels are about the same. The RSI is lower a little bit. The stochastics are a little bit lower. The VWAP is angled to the downside. So this is telling me it's trying to do everything it can to sow doubt in people that are buying, holding, selling, trading this right now. For me, if it drops to this level, I'm buying. If it drops to this level, I'm adding more. And if it drops to this level, I'm thrilled that I get to add more. There's a real possibility with all these markets right now, especially if we get some big news about ETF flows today and it's like, you know, it's 10,000 inflows and 0 outflows or something. There's a lot of things that are shaping the narrative of what's happening in this market right now. So hold on to your butts because a lot can happen very quickly in this market. That's what I'm, yeah. If this does move up, same thing as Bitcoin. I want it to clear this range high from this two zones right here, which is 3660, 3,660. That's the first step in truly building that bullish narrative. Now, when we look at Solana, let's go ahead and clear out some of these lines. I don't need all these lines here. Boom. All right. So when we're looking at Solana, this is still very well within this sort of rising wedge that it has created right here. It's just fallen outside of it. It could be a deviation, but we got to pay attention to this because these, this is a rising wedge. And again, this is going to follow. If Bitcoin starts exploding higher, the market's going to get pulled up as well. So I won't really fully consider this a breakdown out of this rising wedge yet until the price action comes up and tests this zone. Remember, here's this weekly VWAP, this yellow line. We've lost it, yes, but at some point we're going to come back and revisit, and we get to decide at that moment. The market decides, is it bullish, is it bearish? And we know that by if it gets rejected, the intention is to play a negative spread. If it breaks above it and then finds support and bounces, that the intention is to play a positive spread. Currently, we still have positive money flow. It's still looking. I think there's a possibility for this to come up into this zone. 191, 195, 192, I should say. If we reject here, that's a confirmation of likely moving lower. And I'd be looking into this zone right here, right in the 180. If we lose that, down here into the 170s. But I'm bullish. Short term feels like it's trying to do some work to the downside, though. Got 237 people in the room. I just want to shout out each and every one of you. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the friendship. Hope you all had a wonderful weekend. We got to talk about Cardano now. Remember, these things all are going to have astronomical gains. Let me just remind you, we are on the market for altcoins. This is where we're at right now. This to me, anything that happens here to the downside is going to be absolutely eclipsed, especially if you could take advantage of dips on the altcoins. This is an index of all the altcoins out there. Everything except for Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? It's the entire crypto market cap minus Bitcoin and Ethereum. And what we're looking at here is when we look at where we're at right now, the alt market has not even broken its previous all-time high yet. Bitcoin has. So we've got a lot of room to go just to get there. And then yet the expansion beyond that. So when we get down here on the 4-hour charts and we see this pattern right here, this is a very bullish pattern. Now, there's a little bit of a bearishness here where we have this trend line or we broke it. Oh, no, but sometimes not. You don't have to draw every single trend line you see. Otherwise, your chart will start looking pretty crazy. What we're seeing dominantly here is this altcoin starting line, alt season starting line, which is this resistance level that we're just kind of bouncing. Currently, this is, we had an inverted head and shoulders here. Okay, we already kind of fulfilled that target to the upside, but this larger cup and handle, and it's flirting with changing the dynamic of what this pattern is if this does, really dip that much lower. Even if that happens, though, and we get a correction, remember, in all previous cycles, we've had some sort of large correction around when the Bitcoin halving is. Let's turn off some of this stuff. And we have not. We've only had, 16 to 21% dips this entire way up. We just had another one. It was a 19% dip recently, but we haven't had, remember, this was a 72% dip. Okay, let's ignore the black swan there. Okay, well, let's just go for what it would have been if that was still a 51% dip before the COVID stuff. Okay, we can also see back here, I've talked about this before. I just have to remind you, this was a right here across the halving, which is what people forget. They feel like we've already gotten to the point where, okay, we haven't had any dip before the halving. Well, this one had a 37, 40% right in this zone, 38% dip that straddled the halving. There's still a lot that can happen between now and then. And my reason I'm telling you this, even if you've heard it before, is because we forget this sometimes and we think, oh, okay, well, I better sell once it starts dipping because it's all over. Because we broke previous all-time high. Maybe we're not going to go higher. Thoughts on DOT potential with DOT 2 this year? Where do you see Atom moving in this cycle? Yes, Aaron Kubak. I'm going to do an entire video on DOT. So I will save it for that. But I think DOT is going to do, I think DOT has an incredible ecosystem. I think DOT has an incredible ecosystem. They have a huge amount of development that's been happening you know, on GitHub and with all their different projects, some of the things that they're doing with how their chain works. And I expect very big things from DOT in this coming cycle. So I'm going to do an entire video on that. And I'll share that. AERO, Velo. We could talk about that. The market's been doing some moves, but I want to talk about Cardano real quick. So this is a pattern that we're kind of looking at on Cardano. Cardano pushing up. And you could argue this is a pattern. You could argue it's not. You can argue that, you know, we're just looking more locally. This is on the daily. Let's get down to the 4 hour. We did have this broadening wedge. It did break bearish, and we're still sitting within the zone, and we're holding on for the bullish narrative right here, right at the point of control. This line right that's coming right through there. It just moved because my camera, my screen moved. But we can see we have this level that we're watching. We already had it marked out from this previous range top. And look at all this price interactivity right in here. And what do you know? We see the price action coming down right on the zone. And we see this green bar that's coming across. This is an order block. The market was telling us there's a lot of liquidity interest in this zone. The price actions come back to the zone. If we lose a zone for Cardano, I'm looking for price action to come down here into the mid 50s, 56, 55. Do you all think, let me know, do you think we will get a price opportunity for Cardano back here sub 50, 46, 48? That would be pretty crazy. This is where we bought it February 7th. And I wouldn't be mad at this. I'd be stacking more up. I don't know if we're going to get a move that deep. But this is, if we can hold this zone and watch for a potential push up into this area and rejection, right? Or a push up through this and support and continue higher. We do have a lot of mixed signals here, though. We can see on the momentum, see these bars turned red, white to red. The redness means that there's a lot of selling pressure here. I'm guessing these are, yeah, see it turned purple, but stopping volume. So let's see what happens in this region. When we look at this on the macro, though, and we see there's a lot. Let's just come from the top, option F to the bottom. Option F, by the way, is Fibonacci. If you're on PC, you use Alt F, right? Click on your screen first and then do Alt F and then click once, move your mouse, you see how it's there, and then you click again to set it. And then you can drag this around if you want as well. But it's this Fibonacci, 1, 2, 3, this tool right here, this, see this little arrow? You have all these different tools on these little arrows. By the way, if you haven't done it yet, head over to the BitLab Academy page, go down to the Daily Alpha, watch this Pro Trading View guide. It's 12 minutes. It'll show you how to set up. It'll show you how to set up your templates on TradingView, quick keys, what, you know, how to set up your toolbars so you can do things very quickly. You know, make sure if you want a horizontal ray, or if you want a vertical line, or if you want a horizontal line all the way across, or if you want a Fibonacci, right? I'm not even clicking over here. If you want just a trend line, option T, you know, all the codes for those to do it very quickly just with your keyboard are in that video, and showing you how to set up your template to get your times how you want them and get your different indicator templates that go very quickly between different stuff. It is worth spending a little time educating yourself, even if you think you know it. I guarantee you'll learn something in those videos. So coming back over, we're looking at the macro here. So we have a top from 1 to 0, and now we have an extension. The 1.618. The 1.618 on Cardano is at $15. Do you all think we're going to get a $15 Cardano? I think that's probably a little high, but I'd be thrilled if we had a $15 Cardano, because remember, if we had a $15 Cardano, that would be such a massive market cap. You have to realize that it's not just like the chart says we can go there. Understand the market dynamics when you have a huge number of coins. You know, 15 times. What is the math on that? Let me just do this really quick. Where is my calculator? There it is. 15 times. Yeah, I don't even know what that number is. It's so exponential. So I'm looking more realistically at somewhere here. Did we draw this correctly? do this again. Option. Let's go to ADA. ADA Binance. All right. So option F, top to bottom. The 1.382 is $8. I mean, somewhere between the $4 to $8 range would be phenomenal. I mean, consider where we're at right now. Yes, the 1.618 is up here at 15. The 2.618 is at 207. But if you're not looking at the data, you're not looking at what's going on, you know, go to Cardano. Cardano, okay. Market cap. Go to all. So we have plenty of room to grow here, right? We're at 22 billion, 21, 22 billion. The all-time high based on market cap is up here at 92 billion. I didn't realize it got up to over $90 billion. Yeah. Market cap. We've got 35 billion coins circulating. Max supply is 45 billion. So we're still going to have more coins come out, right? 45 billion times, or we can just do 35 billion times $15. What is 15 times 35? 735 or something like that. 15 times 35. 500, that'd be a $525 billion market, which isn't out of the question. But remember, Cardano is also contending with Ethereum, Solana, BNB, Avalanche, Polkadot, Polygon, kind of, you know, similar, you know, smart contract platform. Now they have slightly different communities and slightly different agendas, and but it's somewhat, you have only a limited amount of capital is going to enter the space, and it's going to be astronomical this cycle. But when you have all these different layer one communities and layer two opportunities, and you got near protocol, you know, you got there's so many different layer one and layer two things. A $525 billion market cap would be bigger than what Ethereum is now, which, I mean, I'm not saying we can hit $15. I would be thrilled if we did, but don't plan on it. You know, plan on something like between, you know, 4 to 8, and let's be thrilled and start layering out once we get up into that $9, $11, $14. Just being smart. 113 likes, 291 viewers. So looking here, I mean, look at this on the weekly. Look at how much negative money flow here. Look at this. We are about to flip into the positive. Last time we flipped into the positive was here, right at the halving. And from that moment, just so you know, everybody that says Cardano doesn't move is dead. This is the same thing it did last cycle. And look, this had a 6,507% gain on the weekly chart once the money flow flipped bullish. Do you realize that? So right here, we're not going to do a 6,500% gain, but let's just entertain the idea. What would that be? 6,500 would be up here in the in the $60 range. Let's cut it in half. What would that be from here? 3,000% gain would be at that $15 coin. Now let's look at a couple more before we go. I'm very bullish on these projects, but we need to rein in where we think things are going and take advantage of the market right now, as we do have some potential drops in price action on different assets. Let's not get frustrated, because things are going to have a very bullish 2024 into 2025. Remember, it's an election year as well. So things are looking like we want them to. Things are feeling good. And so when we see the price action has been trending up and we're getting a correction, let's take advantage of this, you know, potential move to the downside. Link has just been chopping back and forth like everything right now. I'm not mad at it. I want more opportunity to stack some more into it. If we lose this sort of level, it's not even on any sort of really support zone. I think we come down here to 1760. If we lose that, we may be seeing some lower prices. But remember, Link traded sideways for 530 days. Look at this. So as it stands right now, breakout, sideways, breakout, sideways. Things are just getting to that point where the underlying pressure for what's about to come is going to pop at some point. And once we clear this $22 mark, then we have, the next zone up really is this $35 mark, which is a golden pocket, as we can see right here, $35. Then once we pass that, then we're also continuing with this previous range stop. Once we pass that, the next level up is up here at the $55 range, that previous all-time high. And remember, Chainlink is integrating into all aspects of the crypto ecosystem. So I'm very bullish on this. AERO, yeah, AERO is one of those ones we share with you guys. This is where I shared it with you guys. This is where it is. It's just been ripping to the upside. I've taken profits 3 times, and I've shared every step that I've done in the BitLab Discord, in the Kelly Alpha charts, Kelly Alpha chat right here for the premium members. I've been sharing every move. I'm buying, selling, everything here with you guys to keep you in the know about what I'm doing. If I'm going to share something with you, I'm going to tell you what it is. And so AERO, part of that base narrative, DEX on base, it's just been ripping from back here when this really initially ripped. That's a 20x already. From where we bought it at, it is roughly all the way to its top, 7x. Now, is this done? I mean, this looks like a bullish breakout with a bit of a bull flag, if you ask me, right? And even if this were to drop, remember, this is a growing ecosystem, one of the fastest growing ecosystems in crypto right now, things that are on base. And Coinbase also invested, I think it was $100 million into this ecosystem. If this were to break out of this, the next target to the upside, we measure this just like this. This is AERO, Aerodrome Finance. The next target up here is at 355. Now, I still hold AERO, but it had moved so much. I got tired of being cash poor because I'm putting everything I have in the market. I was like, I can rotate some capital out of small caps that have grown tremendously and use that capital to fund other buys. And that's what I did. I still have quite a bit of Aerodrome. Aerodrome. I still have $4,800 worth of Aerodrome. I've taken profits on it 3 times to rotate into other aspects. Now is this going to happen? Maybe. If this drops down, we still have this area that we can contend with right here, which is this previous range resistance levels. That's now contending right here with where this order block is. So if we dip down here, I'd be wanting this to hold above the dollar range. Otherwise, we may be getting better opportunities at lower prices. The Stochastics have come down tremendously, though, and looking like they're trying to round out. What does it look like on the 4-hour? 4-hour momentum is to the downside. The VWAP is looking like it's trying to reverse to come to the downside. We may get an opportunity lower here. So remember, if you felt like you missed it before, you shouldn't be mad now if price action potentially might be moving down. That means you can, if you believe in this project, and we see the market as a whole is correcting. It's not like this project sucks when everything's dipping a little bit, and coins with smaller market caps will tend to have larger dips to the downside because less monetary energy is needed to make price move. So if this does dip and you believed in it before and it's dipping, and you're like, oh, now maybe I didn't miss out on it so bad as I thought I did. Yeah, everybody, stacks chopping sideways. I'd be watching right here, this 326 sort of zone. If we lose that, then next level down is 305. If we do start pushing up, I'm not really bullish until we clear 382. SCI, everything's looking the same. It's just chop central. ONDO, kind of moving, a nice move to the upside. But look at this. You notice this is starting to round a bit. So if we lose this zone and come up and have a lower high, this is signaling that it's going to potentially be coming a bit lower. Then the last one, that coin that we, that super mid cap, that super micro cap that we shared with you guys that, a lot of us got in on at the office. And this is, I do not recommend this. It's a very, small micro cap. But this is kind of consolidating at this zone. If this does have any sort of downward price action, this can move violently to the downside because it's got like a $7 million market cap. It's so tiny. The only place you can find it, I think, is on, DEXs. And they just also launched on Base as well. But you never know what can happen. This is the only one. This is one of the only coins in my portfolio that's up right now. But it's also, you know, newer coin. It's on that RWA narrative. Render, giving us the opportunity, potentially the downside. Golden pocket down here, 861. I'm watching for opportunities here in this market because remember, we're right at that gateway for especially the altcoins to be pushing higher. I love you guys. I got to go. My throat is cracking here. I appreciate you. We are going to have 2 member streams tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. Sorry. Wait. What is tomorrow? It's tomorrow. No. So we have a member stream tomorrow with Josh and I. And then there's another member stream on Wednesday. So make sure if you are in the BitLab Discord, you just look up here at the top where it says events. You'll see I'll add the one for tomorrow up here shortly. But I love you guys. I appreciate you. If you do want to sign up, we still have that. The price is going down currently right now because the Bitcoin price. We have this deal still while the price is under all-time highs. 30 days free for our signals. Costs you nothing. You can cancel anytime. It's free. And then after that, it's basically the lowest price that we've ever offered for our premium Discord, where we do member streams. We do walkthrough on charts, indicators, chart requests, watch lists. There's so much going on in here and a great community. And you guys, everybody that's a BitLab member here on YouTube, but especially here in BitLab Academy on our Discord, you've really helped keep us going. You know, we've rebuilt everything from the catastrophe that happened last August. And we have such a better community now. So you can sign up there, lab.bitlabacademy.com/Josh. Again, that's lab.bitlabacademy.com/Josh. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. Let's take advantage of these opportunities if the market dips. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell, and I'll see you in this afternoon. This afternoon, we're doing the Crypto DGen show. I completely forgot about that. Rodney and I talking meme coins, talking micro caps. So tune in here on BitLab Academy at 3:15. I'm going to post a link here in just a second when I post that up. But I'll see you at 3:15 here with Rodney and I. We're talking all those super DGen plays, and we'll be getting into it. So I love you guys. With that, I bid you adieu. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always tuning in. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for being here. Use that link down below. Come and be our friends. Love you guys.